Right then, it's the 30th birthday of the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, so I'm going to do my little tribute video. Most of what I've talked about many times in the past, blogged about and so on, but heck, given the day that's in it, let's do something. Let's go through some of the bits and pieces I have here. So, here's the TV, obviously flickering like fury. If you zoom in there, you'll see copyright 1982 Sinclair Research Limited. So what you're looking at here is actually a ZX Spectrum. It mightn't look like one, but it is one. Bought in late 1982, WH Smith in the UK. It was originally a 16K, and then later I got the upgrade kit and upgraded it to 48K. This is basically an add-on case. You take the motherboard out of the original Spectrum, pop it into this, and you get a full keyboard. The reason for that, you'll see in a few minutes, is really the amount of stuff I was doing back in the day, back in 84, 85, 86. I needed more than the rubber chiclets. Still works, unfortunately, and you can't really see it there. There's something off with the colour. We've lost a colour. I think it's blue. So everything I show you now is going to have a pretty weird kind of green tint and tinge on it, but it's still working, which is the amazing thing. 30 years old, or 29 and a half years old. I was going to do the full retro thing, so for example I was going to use this Aiwa Walkman to play a tape in and show you the hell we used to go through with games back in the 80s, loading up our games. Unfortunately, I can't find any of my tapes, so we're going to cheat a little bit and use my little laptop here to play the tape file of a game into the Spectrum, so you can see everything going on. I decided to completely geek out on kind of 80ness there. There's a Casio graphing calculator, what I got in Germany in 88. 88, was that one in Germany? I think so. And that's a Maplin multimeter. So I got that around 83, 84 because I wanted to build some electronics projects for the Spectrum, none of which ever worked. But it still works. I've got a digital one now with this. This guy still works, still does the business. I can't find my old soldering iron, which was equally old and only died last year. But I have some, before I show you the games and so on, I show you some other stuff. We'll start with the books, I suppose. So here are the books over here. Excuse, I would say the mess, but this is me after tidying up. So what have we got here? We have Animator 1 at-a-glance options. So this is my grand plan to use it was a graphics package for the ZX Spectrum. What I wanted to do was actually build a light pen and then integrate the two so we could draw on the screen, because back then we didn't have your kind of Wacom type tablets. And here's some tape inserts. I'm so pissed off I threw out the tapes. It looks like I've thrown them out anyway. Bugaboo, such a tough game, but brilliant game. One of my favourites from back then. This is one of the first I ever got. So this is actually, I think I may have even got this with the Spectrum. It was Quicksilva, so I'm assuming that's the knockoff of Asteroids. And this is a game I played, and one of the few I played right to the end. I don't think I ever finished Jet Set Willy, but this is Imagine Alchemist before they completely disappeared up their own bum. This is the original ZX Spectrum manual. Everybody started with this. This is where you learned your go-tos and your strings and all of that, all the basics, the basics of basic. Phenomenal thing, and it's a genuine first edition, 1982. Then after I learned BASIC, I switched to Forth because I couldn't quite figure out the machine code and assembler and all of that. So that's the instruction manual for Abersoft Forth, but I really didn't get moving big time until I did this, which is Advanced Spectrum Forth. If you're not familiar with Forth, there's some now. It's a stack-based language, really only kind of one level up from assembly. I don't think anybody really uses it anymore, do they? Except to control telescopes, which is what it was originally designed for. I wrote my first game in Forth. Took me months, finally got it working, and it wasn't fast enough. So I had to start all over again, and I did that by using this, the Bible. Spectrum Machine Language for the Absolute Beginner. This is possibly the greatest programming book I've ever bought. Everything I know about how to program at a very low level I learned from this. It's still awesome. explains everything, the entire architecture of the Z80. Basically everything I did in the 80s, really, I learned from that book. Phenomenal. It took 3 or 4 attempts of reading it before I got it, but I finally got it. This is Laser Genius. It was an assembler editor, which I used a fair bit towards the end, so kind of 86. Funnily enough, I don't know if you can see that there, the paper's blue, because they were obsessed with piracy even back then, so they didn't want people photocopying the manual, which makes me smile. And then this is 20 simple electronic projects for the ZX Spectrum. I never finished or got any of these working. I made some of them. I made breadboards, I had soldering. I don't know how I didn't manage to kill the Spectrum while I was at it. None of them ever worked for me. So that's my little collection of books. And then I actually only have one bloody magazine, which is a disappointment. This is Your Sinclair, the ZX Spectrum 128K. It's here. So this is April 1986. The reason I have this is there's some Max Headroom stuff. There's some games. There's an ad for a Presto modem in there. There's an ad actually for a teletext adapter, which is quite funny given that they shut down teletext last week. So another anniversary, I suppose. Sorry, we'll get there eventually. Opportunity Knox was a programming competition that this magazine ran for a couple of months. I got 2 entries into it, I think. Anyway, this is me. Cherry Run by Conor O'Neill. Yeah, so I was full of crap back then, really. So that's that. I'm running out of battery here, which is a real pain in the ass. But anyway, this got me very excited today. So this is actually my code, my assembler, sent off 28th of the 10th, 85, the Cherry Run. So I used to use accountancy books to write my code because it was helpful, because you'd have the sort of comments on one side. So there you go, there's some Z80 assembler if you're really that interested. That took months. I mean, that was a really, really tough piece of code. That was the most complicated thing I wrote, and it worked, and it got published in that magazine. I'm not sure what this one is. This may be the earlier one, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Actually, no, this is the earlier one. Here is me using graph paper to do whatever I did. Oh, for the Centipede game that I did. There's the grid. Oh, so this is the one that was, I think that's 4th, yeah. So that's the first version, which, as I said, was too slow. And that's it. I mean, that's a lot of my handwritten code, kind of exciting. That made me laugh. Pad from Error Minded Mean Bastards, I don't remember buying that. Oh, and then this was Your Spectrum from, what's that, December 1985, and that was the grid, so that's the first one I got published, and that's what I'm going to show you now. So let's get over to the old Specky. There she is, there's the keyboard, and you know, I love my Spectrum, but I always hated this one button per, keyboard, and that didn't work. Delete, symbol shift, delete. Let's get it right, Connor. Load, boom, enter. Then we go over here, and this is the tape file. So this is actually recorded off my original tape from back in the day. So I don't know if you can hear that. There you go. Biddly. Boo. Bip. Boo. Biddly. So yeah, so you're going to sit here for a minute. So when you think about it, this is really short. I mean, this grid game was about a K and a half. When you think about some of the bigger games are 48K, so you'd be sitting here for upwards of 10 minutes waiting for a game to load, and it would fail right at the very end. Oh, I'm running out of record time, so I'm going to have to splice together 2 videos here to do this properly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, no! Okay, I'm back. That just about loaded, so I'm not going to redo this. We'll do one take type stuff. So this is the game. As you can see, graphics are not my wait, you see the real game. So this is the loading screen. All classic Spectrum games use QAOP, and any that didn't were idiots, because QAOP is the ideal for up, down, left, right on a keyboard like this. I don't think you can see here with the colours completely off on this. It should be. It shouldn't be what it is. I'll pick a fairly slow speed, so we'll go 7 on this. So this is basically the grid. This is the game that I wrote. So first assembler game I wrote, as I said, this is the one I originally wrote in 4th, and it like barely moved. Whereas once it was switched to assembler, there's a gigantic delay loop on every single cycle of this code just to make it playable. It was so unbelievably fast. It's a straight lift. To me, I was doing a straight lift of a game by, I can't remember the name of the company, but it was Dilithium Crystals. But it turns out they'd lifted it from somebody else as well. I think maybe an arcade game. So basically, eat the dots, avoid the missiles from the guys on the side, and that was it. Lots of screens with different layouts, harder and harder. I can't remember, does the game get faster and faster or not? I was never actually very good at playing it. But the basics on this, and it's unfortunate because of the screen resolution, you can't see there is colour clash there. There is infamous ZX Spectrum colour clashes. The little yellow guy moves around on the what's supposed to be a blue grid. Damn it to hell, I got hit. And that's really it. That was the first game. I did another 2, all of which were published in various magazines. I then started a gigantic one, which was a disaster. I was really trying to do my Jet Set Willy moment, and spent months, possibly 6 months, writing code without testing a line of it. Just as you saw on those ledgers, just writing tons and tons of assembler, really trying to high score 153. There you go. Really trying to. I was building lots of algorithms, a lot of edge detection stuff, a lot of sprite detection stuff, which just doesn't exist in the Spectrum. I never finished it, and I don't think I even have the original code anymore, unless it's somewhere at home in my parents' house, which is a pity. But there you have it, a little bit of a geek fest. So let's give you one last look at the old specky. I suppose to show you one thing. The only bit that ever got really modified on the Spectrum was I actually had to desolder the power connector and put on a new one because it wore out, because there's no reset button or on-off button on the Spectrum. So in the end, I actually soldered one on. There's an edge connector at the back there, which allowed me to do a reset like so. So one of the better things that I did, and that's really it. I hope you enjoyed that bit of retroness, probably a little wordy as always with moi. Questions, comments, criticisms, the usual, leave them below. Thanks.